Things are getting seriously out of control in Diddy's trial, and it's raising a lot of red flags. Why is his legal team so disorganized? Is he trying to control the defense just like Casey said he used to control her? And what happened to key witness Gina Wen, who vanished before testifying? Let's discuss the 7 wild moments you missed in Diddy's case. A rocky start that only got worse. Things took a messy and troubling turn during Sean Diddy Combs' high-profile trial when his defense team made a series of serious missteps in front of the jury. Led by attorney Ana Estevao, the team tried to challenge Casey Ventura's testimony by showing old text messages. They believed these messages would prove that Casey was not a victim, but someone who willingly took part in what happened. Instead, the messages ended up helping her case. Some showed her clearly frustrated with Diddy's controlling behavior. Others didn't support either side and just wasted time. The defense's arguments felt scattered, and their long, unfocused speech stood in stark contrast to the prosecution's clear and short opening that lasted only 30 minutes. The jury appeared unimpressed, and the defense looked unprepared and overwhelmed as Casey remained calm and firm throughout cross-examination. A strange and off-topic turn. In a moment that left many confused, the defense tried to bring up a bizarre topic: drug-laced baby oil. This line of questioning came out of nowhere and had nothing to do with the serious charges Diddy is facing, such as assault trafficking and racketeering. When asked, Casey immediately denied that anything like that was ever used. People in the courtroom were left shaking their heads, wondering what the point was. It felt like a stunt meant to get attention rather than a legal real strategy. Online reactions were quick to mock this move, saying the defense seemed desperate. Instead of focusing on solid arguments or evidence, they were reaching for shocking claims that had no real weight. In the middle of such serious accusations, this approach seemed careless and off-base. Diddy's courtroom outburst stuns observers. Things got even more tense when Diddy himself appeared to lose control. After the judge criticized his legal team for submitting 400 last-minute documents, supposedly prepared overnight with work going on until 3 a.m., Diddy reacted with visible anger. During a break, he stood apart from his team for nearly 10 minutes, then pulled each lawyer aside individually and began yelling at them. Witnesses described him as red-faced, cursing, and clearly furious. This wasn't just an emotional reaction, it looked like the kind of aggressive behavior Casey had described in her testimony. At a time when his defense team was already falling apart, Diddy's public meltdown added even more damage. It gave the jury a first-hand look at the kind of behavior he's been accused of, and it could end up reinforcing the claims that he tries so hard to deny. Judge gets fed up with defense's delays. The courtroom atmosphere turned tense when the judge finally lost patience with Diddy's defense team. From the start, everyone knew Casey was very pregnant, about 8.5 months along, and could go into labor at any time. Because of this, both sides had agreed to move quickly, especially during cross-examination. The defense had earlier promised to finish questioning her by Friday, but just days later, they admitted they might need until Monday or even Tuesday, stretching the timeline much longer than expected. This didn't go over well at all. The judge called them out for trying to stall and said their actions looked like an attempt to delay things on purpose, possibly to cut down on the time the prosecution would have to follow up. This wasn't just about one extra day in court, it reflected a bigger issue. The defense had already been criticized for being disorganized and unprepared, and now they were being told directly that their behavior was affecting the flow of the trial? The court had a schedule to follow, and not just because the whole trial was expected to take up to 10 weeks, but also because Casey's health and due date were major concerns. The defense didn't help their image when they suddenly dumped 400 new documents into the case overnight, claiming they were vital. But instead of impressing anyone, it only frustrated the judge and made things more chaotic. But Diddy starts controlling the defense team. In another twist, Diddy decided he wasn't happy just sitting and watching his lawyers handle things. He started getting directly involved in their decisions while court was in session. He was seen passing notes, giving instructions, and basically running the show from the defendant's seat. This led to constant interruptions, with the main lawyer, Ana Estevao, having to stop mid-question to check with Diddy or other members of the team. As a result, their questioning became even more confusing. What was already a weak defense started to fall apart even faster, with the constant changes and interruptions making them look scattered and lost. People watching the trial said it was obvious to everyone in the courtroom that Diddy was taking control. That may not have been a smart move. The whole trial centers around claims that Diddy was a controlling and manipulative person, and here he was, doing exactly that in front of the jury. His efforts to steer the questions led to strange and unhelpful topics, like when the defense tried to make Casey look bad for seeing Kid Cudi during a time when she and Diddy weren't even in a committed relationship. Casey calmly explained that their relationship had always been rocky and that Diddy himself was seeing other women and arranging the events at the center of the case. These personal attacks didn't help Diddy, they only distracted from the real issue, these serious charges against him. Old texts meant to shame Casey end up helping her. Things didn't go as planned for Diddy's defense team when they tried to use Casey's old text messages to make her look overly jealous and unstable. They brought up a message from way back in 2009 where Casey was upset about Diddy going on family trips with his ex, Kim Porter, and their kids. In the message, she questioned why she wasn't allowed to join them and even asked if something was more going on between him and Kim. The defense thought this made Casey look jealous, but Casey explained that she was just trying to understand where she stood in Diddy's life, especially since she had been with him for years and still wasn't treated like an equal partner. What made this even more troubling was what Casey said about how Diddy used to play with her emotions. She described how he would make her feel insecure on purpose, using his relationships with other women to keep her feeling off balance, and constantly trying to win his attention. In one message he sent her, he said she needed to work 4 times as hard to be with me. That line alone made people feel like her claims of emotional manipulation were hard to ignore. It gave more weight to her story that he used power and control to keep her in line. Messages about feeling like a side chick raised more questions. Things got even more uncomfortable when the defense shared another old message Casey had written early in their relationship. She said she felt like she was being treated as just a side chick, someone only there to entertain him. She added that she'd still treat him well no matter what. The defense tried to use this to say Casey had always felt second best and was just bitter. But Casey gave more context, explaining that Diddy had shown up at a festival with another woman, Gina Wen, while ignoring her completely. The message, she said, came from feeling pushed aside and unimportant, not jealousy. So let us know about your views in the comments below, and for more such amazing videos, do subscribe to our channel.